I think next we can move to Jaya's sharing session, which is their lessons from deploying AudioMoth in the Sundarban Mangrove Forest. Yeah, Jaya, to you.
Hi everyone. So I'm here to represent Darukaa. So we've been working on carbon as well as environmental modeling projects, and we recently visited Sundarbans, India, which is a Ramsar Convention site, as well as it is known to be the largest mangrove forest in the world, and it is a pilot project there. And our main goal to visit the site was to meet the locals, get to know them, and to also collect as much data as we could to test our models that we've been preparing to identify species and classification. So we were there for 2 days, and the time was short. We realized that after visiting there, because the landscape is just so vast, and we worked in collaboration with an on-ground NGO called SAFE. So they've been doing plantation activities since 5 years. And the site that we visited had different species of indigenous mangroves planted by them. And the ages of the trees also varied from 5 to some recent saplings as well. So that was interesting because we could gather that data as well, since we also work with carbon monitoring as well. So, yeah, and coming to audio mods, we deployed 3 devices in the vicinity. So, the uh, area of the plot was around 68 hectares. So, we deployed three of audio mods, and since we had very limited time, we actually recorded it continuously for like 40 seconds recording and 20 seconds sleep mode. So we had about 16 hours of data from three of the devices, and we got back and we tried to classify them using our models, and it was a really nice trip. I did plan to prepare a slideshow with a few pictures from the field, but I could not, so I'll just share them from my gallery itself. Just give me a second.
Mhm.
So one of the most memorable thing about the trip was that the plot that we visited actually had a horseshoe crab habitat around it. So if you can see this, I don't know if it's visible properly, but yeah, we do have a better picture somewhere. These are the pictures of us and our team from the site. So here you can see a proper picture of the horseshoe crab, which was stuck on a fishing net. So we did try to rescue it, and we returned it to its habitat. And this is our team on the field. Uh, these were the members of the community there, which who helped us a lot in identifying the species, giving us information about the local ecosystem and everything. So this is us. We also deployed a camera trap there to monitor a few mammals. So the Sundarbans is known for its habitat of um the Royal Bengal tiger, but we could not capture the tiger in our cameras because we had to take down our cameras during night because of the high tide. And we also trained a few community members on how to deploy AudioMoths, if you can see here. So this is one of the community members learning how to deploy it. And this is us taking measurements of the mangrove species around there. Yeah. Any questions or anything that you guys want to talk more about?
Was there any feedback from the community when they were trying to deploy the AudioMoth?
Yeah, so uh, uh, we could not. So, since the area that we visited was very close to human settlements, and it was kind of good for us because we were also working on a model for human intrusion. So we could gather sounds of people passing by or people talking around in the forest area to test models. And the community in itself was very helpful. They were very excited about learning new things. And because, so we've been also talking to the a few people from our Forest Institute of India, and what we got to know was how they monitor biodiversity is they actually capture audio recordings and then sit down and then listen to it on ends and then classify each bird by listening to its audio. So when we shared our knowledge with the communities that we can actually do it instantly and almost real time. So they were very fascinated and they were very helpful because for India specifically, there is not much data captured and available. So even while training our models, we had an issue of the training data set. So the local community were very helpful in telling us the species, identifying the species for us so that we can label it and then improve our models. So yeah, the community was very helpful there.
Right, lovely. What would you say the challenges?
So the challenge for us was since the trees were very newly planted, and the entire area actually submerges underwater during high tides at night. So what we actually had to go back in the field at night and then remove our camera traps and everything because they were at a risk of being dysfunction because of water. So that was one of our main challenges. And another challenge would be since the Sundarbans is very remote, most of the land has been protected by the government, but there are still areas like the ones that we visited, but these are so remote that it is very difficult to reach them. And people have been doing, and it is a wonderland for biodiversity there. But the thing is, it's being slowly depleted because of low conservation efforts. The locals there are making a very strong effort on it, but then still getting external help is kind of difficult for them because we ourselves had to travel 3 hours by car and then again 3 hours on boat to get to the site. So yeah, that is one of the major challenges there.
Right, okay, thank you for sharing. Anyone else would like to ask questions? Yes, Pak Yuda. You have to unmute yourself, please. Pak Yuda, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
yes,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you very much for the time. One question to about the how to the technical planting in the mangroves area. Yeah, we know the problem is really big by the diet of the seedling or the some attacks by the water. Yeah, is water sea of the water. Is like abrasion. I asking what the technique to the planting for seedling is still stand up in the hole or can growing. Are you put the stick more the strong or making the rope in the stick or what what doing for the seedling still there?
Uh,
Thank you.
So, I'm not sure about mangrove species around the world, but again, we gain this knowledge through the local communities. So they are working with the indigenous species which are native to the area, and they have this particular species which has been beautifully designed, that it has a strong stem on its seed, which when it falls, it digs a hole itself and then it sprouts from there. I think I might have a picture of that. And it's a really beautiful nature's design. Mm, So the stem or the hard cover that I'm talking about, when it falls, or even if it is deliberately planted, it sticks and it does not let the seedling or from where the roots and plant actually germinates to get under the surface, and it protects it from there, and it just germinates from there. Let me just look for it somewhere. Yeah, found it. Um, so this is a picture of my friend in the field. So if you look at the seeds, so the stem portion, it actually sticks down in the ground since it's the marshy lands. It sticks down there and it keeps the red portion that you see. Those are that is from where it germinates, so it keeps that above the surface. And yeah, so this is I'm also not a botanist, so this is what I had gathered from our field visit.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. I think Sharif, who is also from Tanzania, is also working in the mangrove. If you want to add anything, Sharif, to Pak Yuda's question. Pak Yuda is in Indonesia, and I believe Pak Yuda is also working in the mangrove ecosystem. So feel free to share if you have any. Uh, but then again, back to you, Jaya. Maybe you could share maybe some best practices because you mentioned a lot about working with the local communities, or maybe you have been engaging as well with the local government.
Mm, yeah, so we mainly went for the data gathering and uh, basically deploying equipments there. So I'm not really much familiar with the government or like legalities of it. Uh, so but I can suggest a few best practices on deploying AudioMoths and gathering data and samplings. I can, if anyone's interested in that.
How about with like communicating or interacting with the local communities? Do you do it prior? Like, did you do like a pre session? before you actually go?
Yeah. So the NGO that we are partnering with, so we've been in contact with them for like 2 to 3 months prior before visiting the site. We got to know a lot from them on how they are carrying it out. We gained a lot of pre-feasibility reports also about. So they had actually they had conducted this really well and well organized because they had conducted pre-feasibility tests before the plantation. So we took the reports from them. We got to know the soil sample tests from them, and yeah, we prepared all of those things, and then we visited the site.
Right. Okay. Maybe another question would be on how do you think sound data would add onto the other data that you are collecting? Because you mentioned about the camera trap and other monitoring
Yeah.
tools or ways.
Yeah, so for the camera traps, we actually could really not gather much data. And the audio, if from what we've heard after coming back home during classification, so in only 16 hours of recording, we could identify at least 25 to 30 species. So that is the power that audio data holds. So yeah, it is really important.
Right. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else have any other questions regarding sound data or their experience collecting data in mangrove, for example? Because yes, Sharif, go on, please.
Greetings to you all. My name is Sharif Injamu from Kenya, and I'm really impressed by this mangrove conservation and this project you're doing. Especially to do with the deployment of AudioMoths. I'm just interested with the distance. How far can this AudioMoth trap this sound?
Um, so we planted the devices around like 3 or 4 meter, 5 meter grids. And in the 5 meter distance, we could, we could do a spatial distribution of the sound that we heard. So the audio which is heard loudly in one audio moth could maybe be a slight background noise in other. So that helped us to kind of make a spatial distribution of the bird sounds that we had recorded. So I think we spoke to Fatin and Sharfi before going to the field on what is the best practice to deploy the devices, and they suggested to kind of look for variation in ecosystem or just variation in area so we could gather more data. So we did try that as well. We kind of like moved around the audio mods for the 16 hours that it was deployed. And yeah, it more or less depends on what you want to get out of the data. So since we were out there just for experimenting and getting to know the data and devices, so we played around with it. But if you really want to capture like just a variety of species, you can maybe go for deploying it far away so that it can capture species from different areas. And if you want to know like the activity patterns or distribution patterns of a particular species, so you can maybe put it in a close surrounding where you can hear it, but then again, it can help you identify the location of the bird.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Jaya. Because we are also I mean, we're also learning from you regarding the 5 meters and looking at the spatial distribution. So that's great. To have this kind of conversation where we talk about best practices as well. Cool. Anybody else have any question? Anyone? Yes, Pak Yuda. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry for one question again.
No problem.
This is as like making examination from you, but it's okay. Yeah. Do you already make monitoring about the calculation? How many percent seedling alive after you planting? Because we interesting is very big challenge if we doing the planting in mangrove area. Yeah, this is by the abrasion or by the something very different if we doing in the highland or the peatland or so on. I think very important for us to know how many percent the seedling is like. Thank you, Jaya.
No problem. So I am actually not that much aware on the technicalities of plantation, uh, but uh, I could maybe ask and get back to you in the community chat. So I'm still in contact with the people from the field there. So if you would like to know more about it, I could consult them and get back to you.
Right. Okay. Cool. Cool. And I also think there are also a few other community partners who are also working on mangrove ecosystem, and maybe you could do like a session, like learning session specifically for mangroves, if there's any interest on that, and we can learn from each other in terms of challenges and also best practices. So yeah, I think Sharif also here is working with mangrove ecosystem. Pak Yuda, maybe later I can connect you with Sharif in Kenya so that you can learn from each other. Cool. Any other last questions? 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. I think that's it. Thank you so much, Jaya, for your sharing. Um,
It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you, you all, for being such a nice audience.
Yes, and thank you everybody for asking questions, interacting, and please we can talk more regarding Hyperset on and Gitcoin grants, or if you think that you want to share something, or you want to learn something from other people, please just let me know. Maybe you can request, just text me. So yeah, thank you so much. I really love this community, learning from each other, and I hope we can do more of this in the future. Cool. I think that's it. Have a nice day, everybody. Bye
Have a nice
bye.
day. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye. See you.